Hello everyone, today we're going to take a look at how I created this realistic render in D5 rendering engine. Thank you to D5 for sponsoring this video. Make sure to stay around until the end of the video to get all the helpful and necessary tips and tricks to create realistic renders in D5. Alright, so what we have here is a house that was modeled previously in one of my projects that I did with another rendering engine. And I just made sure to live sync it with D5. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to apply materials and configure them for appropriate use on D5 render. The first thing I did is I chose a brick material from a material library that D5 offers, which is great, by the way. You can find anything that you want to use, a lot of specific materials that you can use as well. So I thought that the scale of the bricks was a little low for some reason, so I made sure I changed it up. And then I applied some concrete material onto the walking slabs of the landscape of the garden. I changed the normal map parameters and the roughness of it just to make sure that it looks as realistic as possible. Next up, I wanted to take a look at changing the ground material, on which I'm going to put on the grass modeling with a scattering tool that D5 offers. So at first I applied this grass configuration, which later on seemed that it was not as dense as it needs to be, so we're going to change it later. After I did the grass, I'm going to put hedges around the garden of the whole house. That way it's just partition for the other areas surrounding the house and just make it look like it is divided from the land of the neighbors. I'm going to do that with a path tool, and then I'm just going to copy that quick with a shift key that is a shortcut for copy in D5 render. And then for the last one, I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees and put it in the back of the house. So I really like these tools that D5 offers, and these are not tools that every rendering engine has, but D5 offers very good variety of things that you can do with this. You can change the size of all of them at once. You can change the rotation of all of them at once and all of that. So I also made sure that I changed the size of the hedges a bit. I want a bit more taller. And right here I'm setting up the composition as well. So I think it's going to be something similar to the angle that we have right now. After that, what I wanted to do is I wanted to change the slabs or the tiles for the concrete slab that was in the front of the house, and I just wanted to make the color a little bit lighter because it was too dark in my opinion, and I believe it blends well with the rest of the house. By the way, it wasn't my choice to make the landscape like this. It was the architect of the project that had to do this kind of setup for the landscape, for the slabs and all of that. So after that, I applied an HDRI, which is perfect for lighting. The default lighting is not that bad in D5 render, but it could get better, so I just uploaded one of the HDRIs that I have in my folder. You have a lot of different HDRIs that you can choose from D5 render, which are not all that bad, but just to make sure and to be safer, I just got one that I use the most even in other rendering engines. So after I changed the density of the grass, I also applied a material with rocks in where the slabs are. That way the landscape is a bit more interesting. And I added a floor lighting or kind of a landscape lighting for the pathway. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some trees just to make sure to hide the horizon area and to give more context to the space. The brick material makes the house look raw, so in that way I wanted to make the surrounding look a bit more raw with the selection of the vegetation that I did. So I'm doing this with a brush tool, which works fine. As you can see, there was still some space that was uncovered, so I made sure to go back and apply more trees with a brush tool where it needed to. By the way, D5 has an amazing library on vegetation, which I absolutely love. You can find pretty much anything you need for D5 there. Now I also did some bushes around the pathway and the slab, which maybe are not the best selection, but at the same time that space just needed some more variety in terms of landscape. I also did some changes on the sun intensity and on the effects. Everything that D5 offers in terms of visual settings is just everything that you will need to get a realistic render. D5 isn't my main rendering engine, at least in the workflow for my real project as of now, but honestly, with the testing that I did in the last few weeks, it's been wonderful, and I'm really considering in making it my main rendering engine. So now that I did the surroundings, I'll also make sure to place a tree. That way there's some shadows on the facade of the house that we have here, and it just makes it more dynamic, it adds more depth and all of that. Also make sure to always activate 2-point perspective at all times, that way it's more composed, the image is way more composed better. And also what I'm doing right here is adding some lights on the balcony area, I guess, of the house. And this would be very good if it was nighttime and lit up, but for this video I only did day rendering. So here I'm duplicating the lights, and with the shift key, just like before that I did with the hedges, which is very good to not manually place them once again. And now what I'm looking for is a wall light for the exterior of the house. So this is one of the only objects that I wasn't very happy with the selection that I did. It's not that bad, but honestly there is better exterior lights that could have been imported even from SketchUp or any other software. So I'm doing the same thing here with shift and just multiplying all of them and just giving more context to the house. Now I'm just going to put a bike that is just going to be put on the side here for more context and add some story to the whole render. And also I'm going to add a car on the right side of the garden, which is where it's supposed to go anywhere from the side plan. What I'm trying to find here in the library is a covering or something that would fit well to cover the car in case of rain, snow or anything like that. And I found a modeling that I liked, which isn't created for that, but it can be used for that anyway because it just fits well for the area. So I changed the size of it, and you can either scale it with saving the ratio of the dimensions, or you can take off the ratio of the dimension and maybe just scale it in width, length, or all of that, which is perfect and very well thought from D5 rendering. So right now you can see that the car is on the right side and just where I want it placed with a covering on top of it. Pretty quick, 2 clicks, very straightforward, not anything complicated and all of that. Same thing here, I want to put some furniture on the outdoors, on the slab here, and all I need to do is just search up on the asset library and then just import it with 1 click, just like this. So is there, all I need to do now is rotate it, perfect materials, everything set up perfectly, the modeling is done very well. This is just wonderful for a real-time rendering piece of software. Honestly, you should definitely give D5 Render a try. If you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and leave any comments with any questions you have, and let me know if I should continue to do more videos on D5 Render. So after placing the outdoor furniture, I'm gonna try and find a good character just to add a bit of the story on this render. I'm going to try and find something that is walking, that has movements. So everything, whenever you type in walking, the characters are animated, which is perfect. I love the feature that there's models that are animated for videos and for walkthroughs, which is something that a lot of rendering engines are lacking on right now. Now that I've edited the person as well, I think I'm ready to go and do the final image. The visual settings looks nice. The lighting is calm, the background is filled with good vegetation, I believe, and I'm just going to take a final look on the visual settings in the exposure, contrast and all that. And right after that is done, I'm going to go ahead and render this image. If you want to get the final file from this video, you can check the description down below, where you will be directed on my website and you can get it there. So this is the final image that we got. Let me know what you think. Where do you think there's some areas that can be improved? Where are some areas that you thought came out well? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.